How much time really do you have to neglect something for it to be considered abandoned? If you abandon a child for 2 weeks, but come back, did you really abandon it? Some children may be worth more of your time than others. Some may have more potential than others. So maybe it's okay if you have the right intentions, right? I'm not talking about normal children here, I'm talking about games, right? So developers have a bunch of games they swear they're working on and they're gonna finish, but they never do. And not just developers, artists too have their side projects that they want to finish, but sometimes other cooler projects come in the way and you end up abandoning them. On this video, I'm gonna show the work I've done on 3 games I've considered abandoned, all in different levels of abandonment, and they're not really that abandoned if you consider the time. Like, if you've seen this channel, you've seen all of these games, so they're pretty new, but I really was neglecting them for at least 2 weeks. So let's get started. So this is the main game I'm working on. It's a pet game called Mobukit. So you feed it, you clean it, and you play mini games. It's supposed to be on Android, but I'll talk about that later. The main problem is that when you try to clean it, the phone crashes. Like, not only the app, the whole phone crashes and you have to restart it. So that was the main thing I have to fix. I had a classic programmer problem, which is it works on my phone. But clearly, not everyone is gonna play on my phone. So that was the main thing. First, I got it to only crash the app, not the whole phone. That was some progress being made, but still I have to work on it a little bit more for it to be functional. The issue turned out to be that the shower animation was playing on an infinite loop. I fixed that and now people can watch their pet normally. It was pretty annoying before where you had to play your minigames and you saw your pet all dirty and stuff. So now it looks like a normal, well-kept pet. The other thing I wanted to fix was something about the minigames, specifically the color grader one. So in this minigame, you try to match a color with 3 sliders, the red, green, and blue, and you try to match it as close as possible. But I got comments from some people saying that it was pretty difficult to match the exact color, right? Because you were working with such exact sliders. I first went around this originally by having threshold, so if you were within that threshold of correctness, you passed. But this wasn't really that satisfying for the player. So I got a suggestion that was basically dividing up each slider into 10 segments, so the player can only choose from 10 options instead of a continuous line. This means that the player can actually get a perfect score on this game and not just an approximation. It was pretty annoying for me to work on this because I didn't really know how the slider controls work on Godot, but I got it to work eventually. But I think now it plays way better. Still, I think it's a bit ugly. I don't really know how to fix that. I don't know if it looks too simple for me or something. If I should add shadows or something to each game. I think we'll need to try to have another art direction for this whole game because it looks a bit too unfinished and I really don't know what it is. So maybe that's gonna be a next step for the future. So now the game was perfectly fine. Still, the game is not released yet. The problem is that I have to have 12 users to test this game for 2 weeks before I can actually publish it. And getting 12 people that I know to test it out for 2 weeks is a bit too difficult. So if anybody's interested in testing out this game, I left a link below that you can basically let me know that you want to test it out and I can send you the link so you can be part of this. Anyway, I think I'll continue with this game, so this game will not be completely abandoned. It just needs a bit more love from me, so I'm gonna save this one. The next game I'm working on is Evilingo. So Evilingo is a Duolingo parody. It's basically just a bunch of villains just teaching you how to be evil. They ask you a bunch of questions and stuff and you get distracted by stuff on screen and you have to complete some fake ad in the middle of the game. That's basically the game. To be honest, I'm not pretty happy with this game and I'm planning to abandon it completely. But first I wanted to at least give it more content. Some of the feedback I got was it gets too repetitive. My first instinct to fix this was to add a new villain. So I'm drawing this villain, which is kind of like a blob. So in my idea is like this huge amoeba that kind of traps people and basically dissolves them. And I'm calling it Mr. Blob. I know that's not a very good name. And to be honest, I'm not very good with names at all. I called my first game Mobukit, the one about the pet, because it means morale booster kit. And I think it's not catchy at all, but I think it's too late to change it. Anyway, I'm gonna add this new sprite to the game with some new questions. So I'm just gonna add 4 questions because I have 4 questions for each other villain. So that didn't take that much time. Now that I have the new questions and the new sprite, it's time to see it on the game. Yeah, for some reason it's too fat for the game and I need to fix that. So my idea was to just get a non-fat image from one of the other enemies, well, some of the other villains, just copy and paste over it and I will have my new sprite. By doing this, I accidentally overwrote the ghost image, so I had to download it again from myself from GitHub. And by the way, for some reason, people don't really use version control a lot. I noticed in the Godot subreddit, they are running through problems that are related to not using version control, like they're lost all their files or something, and they lost all of their progress. Using GitHub would have solved all of that, so this was an instance where I'm glad to use GitHub, and I just downloaded the file I was missing. So now everything was in the game, I'm testing it out, and it works fine. The game is a bit quiet. I don't think this game deserves a song for itself. I'm basically making a song for each minigame and game I make, but not for this one. Making a song takes way too much time for me, and I'm not really happy with the results all of the time. I'm not really happy with anything I make, to be honest, but I really didn't want to waste more than 30 minutes fixing this game. I don't think this game really deserves it that much. Not to be mean with it, but the issue with the repetitiveness is not really an issue with the questions, I think. I think there's something wrong with the gameplay itself, and for me to fix this, basically I have to make the game all over again. And I don't think I have it in me for this, so I'm gonna kinda abandon this game. I'm sorry, but there are other priorities that I need to take care of, like... So this is a Doomscroller simulator. Basically, it's like a parody of TikTok and Instagram Reels, where you just basically endlessly scroll and you generate a lot of dopamine doing that. The point of the game is to reach brain rot nirvana and enter this whole state of mind. The main feedback I was getting is that there should be an indicator that you were getting your brain rotted. So what I first thought was making it like wavy and stuff, like adding more colors, maybe add some lines like scan lines. A lot of ideas for this. So for this I went to a page called Godot shaders. So shaders in games are these visual things, let's call it like cool effects, right? Making shaders are its own skill, and that's something I want to learn, to be honest, but there are so many skills in game development that I don't have time to learn every one of them. So I just went to Godot shaders to get shaders for free basically and see what I like. I liked a bunch of them. I like this cartoon one that makes it all cartoony and stuff. I liked a lot of them that make things wavy. I like the VHS effects and stuff, but I couldn't use them all. Using a lot of shaders can be pretty demanding on your graphics, and this game runs on your browser, and that's not a lot of computing power. So if I add a lot of effects, you will see it lag a lot. So I just chose two shaders from this. I chose one that emulates slow blinking and another one that is like supposed to be a shiny effect, but I'm gonna use it for some wavy effects. I just copy and pasted it into Godot. I didn't really expect it to work immediately, but it does, and I was pretty excited. This was the first time I copy and pasted shaders from the internet, so I think I'm gonna do that again a lot. So what I wanted was to make these effects more and more intense the more you play your game. So how can I measure really how close you are to reaching brain rot nirvana? Because some people may take more time to reach brain rot nirvana than others. So the way I decided to do this was by calculating how much the player has spent in the store. So that gives a pretty good idea of where the player is in the game. And the cool part of this was that I could test it just by artificially spending a lot of money. So if you want to see the maximum visual effects of the game, you can play it, the link is down below. So anyway, this game had no songs, so I decided to make one. To be honest, I made this song before, but I didn't want to add it to this game because I thought it was gonna be a bit too repetitive. It's a minute long, and I'm still not sure how long a song should be for a game, so it can loop, and I don't want to annoy the players that much. But to be honest, this game is kinda like annoying the brain, so it fits. So if you get annoyed listening to the song, it's part of the design, trust me. But also, the more you play the game, the more effects are gonna be applied to the song. So I added some effects, like some distortion and other stuff, and I think it fits the game pretty good. So you can play the game and you can tell me if you think the visual effects are not enough, because I think I maybe went too light. Maybe I should go a bit more chaotic. This game, I will completely be working on it in the future. I want to add more buttons, I want to add more chaos to this game, and maybe even make it a whole app when I finally understand how to make mobile games. So I'm not abandoning this one. So those were the main games I've been working on. I have a few others that I abandoned completely, like this bar game that is going nowhere, and some others. I think it's an underrated skill to learn when to give up. Some things are not really that worth it, and sometimes we fall victim to the sunk cost fallacy, so it's good to know when enough is enough. Still, things like the bar game and the Evilingo one, even though you abandoned them, you learned a lot from them, right? So I haven't talked really about the bar game here, but I learned how to make these cool shadows around the players. I didn't know how to do that before, and now I know. So yeah, I think I'm gonna still be working on some of these games, maybe at a slower pace. I'm gonna work on Mobukit at a faster pace than the rest of them because it's a bigger game, and I want to make new, smaller games in the future. So that was basically it. I hope to see you soon with a new game, which will probably be Abandoned 2. Bye.